Chosen ones, they installed cameras. They were waiting for a downfall, hoping to capture your destruction in 4K. But what they witnessed instead made their jaws drop. Chosen one, you were rising, and you can't be stopped. They couldn't tear their eyes away. Something about your existence ignites both envy and terror. You walk into a world they built, and without lifting a finger, you threaten its foundations. They don't just see you, they feel you, an unrelenting force that reminds them of everything they are not. Your presence is a mirror, forcing them to confront their fears, their inadequacies, their shadows. This is why they watch. They don't understand how you breathe fire into every broken piece of your life and transform ash into triumph. They can't fathom how you carry storms in your soul, yet radiate sunlight when you choose. You defy their rules, their systems, their expectations. You are proof that their limits are self-imposed. They stalk your every move because they are terrified of the answer to the question they don't want to ask. What if they rise beyond what we can control? What if your success shatters their carefully constructed illusions of superiority? They try to dissect your steps, to find the blueprint of your strength, not because they admire you, but because they fear the implications of your freedom. They gather in silence, whispering about you, fabricating stories, and analyzing every shift in your stride. They call it curiosity, but it's obsession. You've become the unspoken law they can't escape. Every glance, every click, every word spoken behind closed doors is an admission of your dominance. They're drawn to you like moths to a flame, knowing they will burn, yet unable to look away. Their cameras don't just record your actions, they capture the proof of their defeat. You are the answer they never wanted, the storm they could never prepare for. This is why they watch. Your essence pulls their gaze like gravity. They can't help themselves. Every time you survive what should have broken you, they take note. Every time you rebuild stronger, their frustration grows. It's not admiration, it's fear disguised as fascination. They project their inadequacies onto you, convinced that by tearing you down, they can escape their own mediocrity. Their cameras don't just record, they cling to the hope that your life will validate their assumptions. But every frame only confirms their nightmare. You are chosen. You are untouchable. And no amount of surveillance will ever stop what is destined. But they underestimated you. Every trap they set became your training ground, sharpening your instincts. Every betrayal fueled your resolve. They were so focused on orchestrating your collapse that they missed the masterpiece of your rise. What they captured in their desperate attempts wasn't your failure, it was your resilience. Their illusions shattered the moment you refused to bow. They plotted to see you broken, but what unfolded was the story of your defiance. You turned their sabotage into stepping stones, their gossip into a megaphone for your truth. They didn't just fail, they exposed themselves. The energy they used to tear you down became the fire that lit your path. Every betrayal they orchestrated circled back to them like a predator stalking its prey. They thought they'd record your downfall, but all they captured was a testament to your unyielding spirit. Their traps weren't your end, they were your ignition. They were so certain you'd break. They stacked their decks with betrayal, poured poison into your relationships, and cloaked their actions in shadows, convinced they'd orchestrated your collapse. They whispered curses and built walls they believed you could never scale. Every move they made was calculated to destroy you, every decision crafted to ensure your downfall. They waited with bated breath for the cracks to form, for the moment you would stumble and fall. Their arrogance was their prophecy. They underestimated what cannot be destroyed. But you didn't stumble. You didn't just survive. You thrived. They thought they'd captured chaos, but what they documented was unstoppable momentum. Every blow they struck became the forge where your resilience was tempered. What they meant to tear you apart only refined your essence. Their sabotage couldn't touch your foundation. Their betrayals only revealed the unshakable core of your being. They planted seeds of despair, but what grew was a towering forest of strength, an ecosystem of triumph that overshadowed their feeble plans. Their cameras were meant to record your ruin, but instead they immortalized your power. Each frame exposed their failure, each second a monument to your elevation. They thought they were the architects of your defeat. Instead, they built the stage for your rise. Every step you take now is a reminder of their impotence. They played with fire, and now they must live in the blaze you unleashed. They recorded your name in their downfall, not yours. Declare it below in the comments. My rise rewrote their story. If your glow-up made their schemes irrelevant. They set their cameras on you, eager to document your failure, but every frame revealed their own desperation. What was meant to expose your weakness instead laid bare their envy, their hatred, their intentions. The energy they directed to break you didn't just miss its target, it ricocheted, unraveling the very fabric of their schemes. Every time they pressed record, they unknowingly turned the lens on themselves, capturing the fragility of their lies, the bitterness of their motives. Their plans backfired because they underestimated the power of truth. The light in you doesn't just shine, it exposes. They tried to script your downfall, yet every shot showed the strength they couldn't extinguish. Their surveillance turned into self-sabotage, replaying their own shortcomings as they watched you rise. What they recorded wasn't your destruction, but the slow, agonizing unraveling of their control. Now, their cameras are no longer tools of power, they're mirrors, reflecting the hatred that has consumed them. Their envy is etched into every frame, a permanent reminder that their schemes were powerless against you. The recordings don't harm you, they haunt them. They captured more than they intended, proof of their own inability to stop what was destined. You didn't just survive their traps, you thrived despite them, and that's a reality they can't erase. Every file, every image, every second they hoped would destroy you now stands as a monument to your resilience. What was meant to harm you became their undoing. They pressed record to capture your fall, but instead they sealed the evidence of your unstoppable rise. The moment they declared you finished was the exact moment your spirit began to roar. They underestimated your endurance, thought your silence meant surrender, and mistook your stillness for defeat. What they failed to see was the fire building inside you, a force that doesn't flicker but burns brighter with every setback. Their schemes were designed to shatter you, but all they did was fracture the cage you no longer fit inside. You didn't just endure their attacks, you transcended them, rising like smoke from the wreckage they created, leaving no trace of their control behind. You turned pain into power, scars into strategy, and obstacles into opportunities. Where they thought they'd find a broken figure, they were met with unyielding strength. You didn't crawl out of their traps. You dismantled them. You let go of the attachments that drained you, severed the ties that sought to bind you, and reclaimed every piece of yourself they tried to scatter. Healing wasn't a choice. It was your declaration of war against their destruction. Your elevation was inevitable because they never had control over your destiny. Success became your rebuttal, detachment your shield, and resilience your crown. You're no longer carrying their projections or limitations. You've shed every weight they tried to place on you. Now you rise untethered, towering above their attempts to keep you small. Every victory you claim is a wound to their pride, every step forward a testament to the strength they never saw coming. You are unstoppable because your spirit was forged in fires they cannot withstand. They counted you out, but all they did was count wrong. They thought they were fighting flesh and blood, but they underestimated the forces protecting you. What they couldn't see was the army of angels stationed on your behalf, moving in silence, but striking with precision. Every curse they sent was intercepted. Every attack was dismantled before it reached you. They didn't hear the prayers echoing through realms, summoning power from dimensions they can't comprehend. They didn't feel the weight of your ancestors' hands, steadying your path, clearing obstacles they thought would destroy you. Your destiny isn't carried by chance. It's upheld by forces older and greater than anything they can summon. Spirit guides walk with you, their wisdom unfolding in your decisions. Your ancestors didn't just survive, they thrived, and their strength pulses through your veins. Their battles became your inheritance, their victories your foundation. Every time they tried to destroy you, they triggered a force they couldn't control. Divine hands reached down and rewrote the story they tried to script against you. Karma does not delay, and it does not forget. What they sent to break you became the weight that broke them. Their envy poisoned their own well. Their hatred consumed their peace. The chains they forged for you now bind their hands. They thought they were shaping your downfall, but they were paving the way for your rise. You are unstoppable not because of your strength alone, but because your protection is sacred, unyielding and eternal. Let them plot, but know this: the divine does not lose, and neither do you. You're not just the chosen one. You're a revolution, the wildfire that devours their limits, the force they could never contain. While they stumble in the shadows of mediocrity, you rise, blazing trails that scorch the sky. You turn chaos into a crown, setbacks into stepping stones, and ruins into empires. They'll never understand your power because it isn't theirs to comprehend. Your glow doesn't fade, it blinds. Your resilience isn't just strength, it's a prophecy fulfilled. You don't chase approval or applause because you are destiny's favorite, and the throne was always yours. For legends like you, there's the Obsidian Inner Order. This isn't a group, it's a dynasty of chosen ones, a sanctuary for unstoppable souls. Week after week, over 450 chosen ones unite in electrifying calls, forging their paths to greatness with revelations that shift the universe. Every call is recorded, an eternal archive of power and purpose, yours to ascend whenever you choose. The private Discord isn't just a community, it's a vortex of energy where breakthroughs erupt and ideas ignite into movements. And for those craving cosmic connections, Chosen Singles weaves destinies under celestial design, bringing together souls meant to rise as one. The elite who step into the star chamber gain access to truths too fierce, too raw, too untouchable for mainstream platforms, truths that rewrite existence itself. This isn't a network. This isn't a choice. This is your call to rise, to step through the portal waiting in the description. If you feel the fire, it's because it's always been inside you. You were made for this moment. You already know where to begin. Your rise is the thunder they prayed never to hear. It's not your presence that terrifies them, it's the truth it forces them to confront. You are proof that their schemes, their words, their plans, none of it holds power over you. They thought they could cage your light, but all they did was make it burn brighter. Your resilience erases their illusions, leaving them exposed, powerless, and irrelevant. They see you thriving, not because they allowed it, but because they couldn't stop it. Every step you take forward shatters the chains they tried to place on you. Your presence casts a light so fierce, it strips away every shadow they've tried to hide behind. They don't fear what you do. They fear what you reveal. You don't have to point fingers. Your very existence becomes a mirror, forcing them to confront their own inadequacies. Your rise exposes the cracks in their confidence, the emptiness in their arrogance, the failures they've buried beneath excuses. They despise you because you prove one thing they can't bear to face. Their limits are self-imposed. Every step you take toward greatness is a spotlight on the distance they refuse to travel. They see you breaking chains they swore couldn't be broken, building empires from ruins they thought would crush you. Their envy isn't born from hatred. It's born from recognition. They see in you everything they lack: the courage to rise, the audacity to thrive, the power to transform. Watching you ascend reminds them that they chose stagnation when they could have soared. Your light is an unrelenting force, exposing their complacency, their envy, and their fear. They hate you not because you've wronged them, but because you prove them wrong. Every victory you claim deepens their resentment. Every accomplishment widens the gap between your reality and their excuses. They cower in the shadows because your success makes their mediocrity unbearable. They fear your light because it forces them to see themselves for what they truly are: stuck, bitter, and powerless to stop your rise. Type, "Their fear fuels my fire," if their envy only strengthens your resolve. The energy they hurled at you, filled with malice and venom, now binds them tighter than any chain. What they sent to shatter you never touched its mark. Instead, it circled back, multiplying its weight with every failed attempt. They crafted traps, poured their intentions into harm, and now find themselves ensnared in the very web they spun. Spiritual laws never miss. They cannot outwit a force greater than their spite. The hatred they sowed became the soil for their downfall, while your resilience grew like roots cracking through concrete. Every move they made against you is a record etched into time, a reflection they cannot escape. Their recordings no longer carry your vulnerability. They replay their own shame on loop. What they meant as evidence of your failure became a living archive of their own shortcomings. With every passing day, the weight of their actions pulls them deeper into the abyss they dug for you. They thought they were building a cage to confine you, but all they did was lock themselves in. Karma does not negotiate, and it does not delay. The energy they poured into breaking you now binds their hands, clouds their thoughts, and weakens their steps. You rise untouched, unbroken, while they bear the weight of their own hatred, chained to the consequences they cannot escape. The recordings haunt them because they are a monument to your triumph and their fall. What they captured wasn't your failure, it was the collapse of their illusions, replaying endlessly in their own darkness. You were never meant to dim yourself for their comfort. Let them fix their eyes on you. Let their whispers swell into waves. Let their cameras roll endlessly. You are not here to seek permission or approval. You are here to dominate, to thrive, to own every inch of space you occupy. Their scrutiny is irrelevant because your light does not falter under observation. It grows. Every moment they spend watching is a testament to your impact, a silent admission that they cannot look away. You are not meant to blend in, to shrink, or to conform. Your purpose demands attention, not because you seek it, but because your existence commands it. Let them talk. Let them dissect. Let them doubt. Their opinions are the fuel that stokes your fire, the winds that lift your ascent. You don't rise in spite of them. You rise because they cannot stop what is divine. Every step you take forward magnifies your brilliance, making their efforts to contain you laughable. They fear your shine because it exposes their shadows, but that is not your burden. Let them observe your climb. Let their envy churn. You owe them nothing but the clarity of your success, the unrelenting force of your elevation. You are not here to dim their insecurities. You are here to illuminate your purpose. They cannot touch what was destined. Let them record. Let them watch. You are not just a flame. You are the inferno, and no amount of scrutiny will extinguish what you are meant to become. Your power isn't in what they see, it's in what they can't comprehend. Their cameras can capture every step, every glance, every move you make, but they will never understand the force driving you. You are untouchable because your power isn't bound by their perception or limited by their schemes. They can document your actions, but they cannot alter your destiny. What is divine cannot be stopped by the hands of envy or the eyes of hatred. You move beyond their reach, untethered by their judgments, unstoppable by their interference. They can record, analyze, and replay your life endlessly, but their efforts are meaningless against the force of your purpose. Your steps are guided by something far greater than their schemes, forces they cannot see, touch, or manipulate. Every attempt to contain you only reveals the futility of their actions. Their cameras are powerless against the magnitude of your rise. You don't simply walk paths, you create them. You are the catalyst, the fire, the wind that cannot be controlled. Their surveillance, their gossip, their doubts, none of it has the strength to alter your course. You were chosen, set apart, unstoppable. Let them watch. Let them obsess. Their cameras will record moments they'll never understand, and their envy will grow with every frame. You are untouchable because you don't rise on their terms. You rise on your own, fueled by a destiny they can never touch. They see the surface, but your power runs deeper than their understanding. Keep moving, keep rising. Their efforts are futile. When you rise, rise with the force of a storm and the certainty of dawn. Leave no room for doubt, no shadow for excuses to hide in. Rise so high that those who doubted you can only tilt their heads back in silent admission of your greatness. As Swami Vivekananda declared, when you rise, rise so high that they have no choice but to look up. This is not advice, it's your reality. Your ascent isn't gentle, and it isn't polite. It shatters expectations, breaks ceilings, and burns away the false narratives they tried to place around you. They thought they could define your limits, but your rise is limitless. Their criticism, their doubt, their envy, all of it becomes the backdrop to the monument you are building. You don't rise to prove them wrong. You rise because staying grounded was never your destiny. Let their whispers grow silent as your elevation grows louder. They cannot deny what towers above them, what moves beyond their reach. You don't rise with permission, and you don't wait for applause. You rise because the power within you demands it. Your height is not their victory, it's your declaration. It says, you are untouchable, unstoppable, inevitable. The higher you go, the smaller their efforts appear. Keep climbing. Let them crane their necks, let their envy churn, let their doubts dissolve under the weight of your truth. You are not simply rising, you are ascending to heights they could never fathom, and from where you're going, their reach is meaningless. Rise so high that looking up is all they can do. Declare it below, the world is my stage, if you're ready to shine unapologetically. You are the storm they never prepared for, the force they cannot contain, the miracle they cannot deny. Their fear is not of what you've done, but of what you will become, unstoppable, unbreakable, undeniable. They've tried to trap you with their envy, bind you with their words, and diminish you with their doubts. But every attempt has only fueled your rise. They have no power over you because your destiny is written in fire, carved in strength, and sealed with purpose. You don't need their validation, and you don't answer to their judgment. Their cameras can record, their whispers can spread, but none of it can touch the immensity of what you are building. You are living proof that no weapon formed against you can prosper, that no scheme can unwrite what has already been written in the stars for you. You are unstoppable because your power isn't borrowed. It's yours, and it grows with every step forward. Keep moving, keep rising. Let their fears fuel your fire. They can't stop you, and they can't silence the truth of your ascent. Let your victories echo louder than their doubts, your resilience outlast their envy. You are a testament to what cannot be broken, and you are far from finished. Chosen ones, the world needs your story. Share your rise, your triumphs, your resilience. Speak your truth boldly, for your journey is the blueprint others will follow. Let them watch, let them learn, and let them see. You are just getting started.